Welcome.
Welcome, everyone,
Welcome to episode 8.
of our homebrew podcast. I am
Also known as episode, this is my first beer of the day.
also known as it's been like a month and a half.
Yep. Also known as we're going to bitch about some stuff today.
Oh, some stuff. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Axel.
I'm Steve.
We're Fire and Rice Productions.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you for making this the most watched part of our channel.
Yeah. You know, we do other things,
Yeah.
but this is it.
This is okay though.
This is really
nice.
fun.
This is where you really get.
This is where you really get to delve deep into the minds of Axel and Steve and really find out what makes them tick.
It also isn't as aggravating as certain games.
And
With fedoras.
you can also find out what makes me dick too.
What makes you dick?
What makes me dick and tick.
Dick and tick.
Dick and tick.
Dick and tick. Hashtag dick and tick.
I think that
I want to put that on a shirt.
I wouldn't mind that being on a shirt. Dick and tick.
Dick and tick.
That's almost like allegory for a single dude who's given the dickens and then his clock is ticking, so he's got to get the fuck out of there.
We'll just get like a picture, like a caricature of you making like the weirdest like face.
Or maybe it's you can't wait to get home to masturbate. Maybe that's it.
That's true though.
Maybe that would be a tick and dick.
I mean, there's so many days on the train where I'm just riding home and it's just like I can't wait to get home and dick and tick.
Yeah. Can't wait to just feel one out.
Can't wait to get my Lubriderm ready and
Can't wait to squeeze it out of me.
what anime am I watching before this?
Jesus.
Need to find my waifu.
Bet it's Elfin Lead.
Yeah, you know, Elfin Lee never really did it for me sexually.
That was implying that you're into fucked up things, but
Well,
you know,
I mean,
whatever.
I
You can
am.
ruin the joke if you want to.
Well, I do joke about Evan a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Episode 5. Anyway, so it's been a while. Obviously, we're releasing things as they go, and it's turning out pretty well so far. I'm
Yeah.
rewatching a lot of our episodes now, and I'm
Of a homebrew?
I'm the up to date.
Ah.
So we're up to what, episode 5 and 6 of Long Live the Queen and Tokyo School Life.
Yes, and
I'm-
this coming week will actually be the finale of Long Live the Queen.
This coming week?
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah,
Monday we
that
do
was-
episode 6, Friday's episode 7, and I rewatched them, and I really enjoyed Long Live the Queen.
Yeah, no, that was a fun one because I don't know. I've always wanted to rule something, but
was-
never had the confidence or the willpower to like stick it out to
To do it.
to do anything
Yeah.
like that. So it gives me that opportunity to see how absolutely disgusting I can treat like a group of people and get away with it. And I think it
killing
turned
me.
out well for me.
Yeah, it's killing me right now because I'm watching this stuff, and there's phrases that we use in those episodes that I want to like bring back. I think they're hilarious, but I can't say them now because we haven't aired them,
Yeah.
and that's spoiling.
Well, at some point,
Next podcast.
next one.
It's gonna be. I'm gonna have a segment where I just spit out random catchphrases, see
Yeah.
which one sticks.
Yeah. So
But we end Long Live the Queen. I think we ended on a very high note. It was really funny.
I do like that one.
And then this
Because
is
it's kind of like our commentary is pretty limited in between, but like in between decisions. But
it's more of our
once-
reactions to.
once I start dying, I start enjoying it a lot more now than I did at the time of dying.
Did you read my description for the episode? I think it must have been episode 5,
I did
where
not.
you end up. It's the one. It's been released now, so I can talk about it. Where you actually die a lot. Like you finally died, and it was a lot. And at
The
some
one
point,
I saw, I died in the caravan to your shitty little friend's birthday party, and
Yeah.
then
and you like raged really hard towards the end of the video, and I was dying.
that must be a different one because I only
What?
died twice in that.
Maybe.
And
well,
then
you
we
still
ended
died.
the episode right after I died.
I still for the description for that one I put it was hilarious for me, but not for you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did read that one.
Okay. And this is our last week with the Tokyo School Life voices before we take over.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. The game goes along a little bit quicker, just because you don't have to wait for the voice actresses to finish their lines, but that's fine by
Actually,
me.
we go off on more tangents. Once we start doing the voices, we go off on more tangents, and the pacing slows down a lot, which
It
was
does?
fine. Yeah,
Oh.
but I was rewatching. I was watching episode 8 where we do the voices, and we had forgot to turn the timer on for that episode, so it's like a half-hour long episode. And,
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, I was like,
Sit through our misery.
well, I really enjoy when we brought the voices out because I saw the time. I rewatch these things. I write down tags in the description for the YouTube thing, and I'm watching episode 8 thinking I have to sit through a fucking half hour of this, and it actually held my attention.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was.
Maybe we
pretty
don't
impressed.
suck. I was
No.
starting to think that we suck,
No,
but
I
I think
was-
everybody else is just missing out at this point.
Well, we're still new.
But at
Ish.
least we don't suck.
I mean,
I'm validating what I thought of myself. This is helping my confidence, Nick. Please don't shatter it.
I won't shatter it. I need
Shattering
you, Steve.
it.
I need you.
Anyway, yeah, couple of reasons why we've been kind of slow on this too, on the uptake. Well, Nick is kind of saddled with all the upload responsibilities, and I'm saddled with
fun.
working 7 days a week at the moment. Not
Well-
like, oh my god, all I do is work, and it's like
There
3 days a week at a Starbucks. No, I work full time.
2
and
jobs. 2
then
like
I
paying
work
jobs.
2 8-hour shifts on the weekends. I got lucky today because my second job is a little bit more weather dependent, and it's pissing today. So
Plus, you have Fire and Rice Productions, and you have your band,
2 bands.
2 bands.
But
So-
I'm lucky enough that the singer of both of them is the same person.
Yeah, because I want
by the
to
way-
clarify that because Steve mentioned that I do the behind the scenes stuff. We knew going in that I was going to be doing all of that because Steve's saving up for a wedding.
That's not true. I forced him to do it, and then I put my dick in his face.
Not in the mouth,
No,
Just
just
kinda,
in his
like
face.
wiggled it around the face.
And then I went into a separate room and masturbated because
with my Lupiderm.
yeah, just with the image of I just put my dick in another man's face. That felt so good.
And it
Power
wasn't-
is intoxicating.
It wasn't that it was allowed. It was just so random and scary
Mm-hmm.
because Steve has a beard and beards are scary.
Yeah. You couldn't call it a bear experience because although I am fat and hairy, I am not gay. So it wasn't really a bear attack, but it was pretty damn close.
Yeah, but I mean, in all seriousness, it's he's really busy. So
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned this to other people where I do all like the editing and stuff on the side, and they mistook it initially, and I had to clarify. No,
Oh, they
it's,
actually did?
Yeah, and I was like, no, it's, it's not. It's shitty, but it's understandable because for all the work I do, Steve has like 4 different jobs.
Mhm.
So I just want to clarify. Yes, I do all that editing and stuff, but it's okay.
Speaking of which, Fourth Lawrence is going to be having quite the writing period coming up. I think we're going to be doing probably about 10 songs. We're considering a full length and
So
kind of doing it right.
Fourth Lawrence is just you and Pat,
Yep, 2-man alternative.
and then the common names is you, Pat, Brian, and
Lucas.
Lucas, thank you.
So
I paid
it's
attention.
pretty good stuff. Of all 20 of you listening, if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. We're
I'll
on
throw
Facebook
up,
as the common names,
yeah,
and
I'll throw a link up in the
we'll
description.
we'll do the Bandcamp so that you can get yourself some free tunes, dude.
Free tunes, mine.
But anyway, yeah, no, we've been kind of working at that, and then we've also excuse me, had a couple shows. We played something that was like more of a company function, which actually ended up being pretty fun because it sounded like the fucking Gorge how we had it set up. We kind of had this way to soundproof behind us so that all the sound went out of like this bay door, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like at DHL. It's the same
Oh,
thing, but if you
gotcha.
have like a big wooden barrier back behind our setup, it sounded fucking awesome. We've got some
That was for,
videos
like,
from
your
a couple
festival
friends
thing,
of
right?
ours. No, it was like a fucking. That one's next weekend, actually.
Where's that at?
Elco. El Corazon.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we'll be playing the main stage at 7 o'clock, I believe.
What day? Saturday?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you want some tickets, bro? You want to buy a couple
if I could
tickets?
bum a ride up with you guys, yeah.
Yeah, that'll probably be possible.
'Cause
Yeah,
then
no, that's
I'll-
going to be a crazy day, too, because I have... Well, here's why you might not be able to. I've got a wedding to go to that day at 3 o'clock. That's about an hour north of where the show is. And then we got to come back down, play our set at 7 o'clock, and then my father's birthday is the next day.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. we'll figure something out. It's a trifecta. His birthday is the next day, but they're doing like a backyard camping thing, which is kind of weird. But he's
Intense.
turning 70. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to.
Yeah, and your dad's legit enough, so.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know. He's stood the test of time. He was in Nam, damn it. Let him have a fucking backyard camp out.
Oh, man. I really want to go camping. Next year.
I do too.
Next year, we're going to have a fire and ice go camping.
I really want to go camping again. I just went, the one time so far this year, and that was the shit. It was raining like half the time, but
Didn't you go with, like, your brother and a bunch of people?
yeah, it was my brother, my cousin, a couple other people showed up along the way, and it was just a good time shooting
I'm gonna throw
shooting
a shout out
guns
to
and
Tom really quick, because we hung out with him on, Friday?
Friday.
That was freaking a blast.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun,
We got
and we're
really-
definitely gonna have him here on this podcast.
Dude has
once
some
we
stories.
figure out how we can get 3 microphones, because we did a couple episodes of what we're gonna be airing next, right? Of whatever.
Fading Hearts?
Yeah,
Yeah,
with-
we have
with
about 6 of
Shelby.
that with Steve's fiance Shelby.
and
And-
it's yeah. I don't like sharing a microphone. I like having all the glory to myself.
Yeah, we might we've done 6 episodes of that one. I was kind of looking at what we had going on. We might just want to wait to film that till we get a bigger USB interface, or we just tough it out. We
We'll
have
tough it
options.
out.
Yeah. But
She also said that she doesn't have to be there all the time. That we can
Do-
take her place. She's
do you
not going to be
think I could
offended.
impersonate her voice.
I know that you can't, but
I mean,
you can try.
yeah.
I think she has a special talent for just hitting that note.
She hits that like so sweet, it's almost sickly note, which is adorable but terrifying at the same time. Like
Yeah.
she could go from
She could-
adorably sweet to terrifyingly crazy.
For all you weebs out there, she can go from Moe superstar to axe murderer.
Yes.
Like, and you'd never know if you were blindfolded with that voice behind you, you would not know whether it's just a sweet 25-year-old woman, or whether it was a small child going to stick an axe in your back, or like at least drug you so she can hack your head off first.
Yeah.
So that I mean
there's a
that
crack. We haven't done one of those in a while.
yeah. No, the time is really getting to me. I enjoy doing these podcasts. But
I've been itching for it for a while.
Yeah.
This is the fun part.
the other parts are fun too.
The other-
it's just like
When it's done, and
there's
it's
more of an
uploaded.
objective with the other things.
Yeah,
And
it's- I enjoy the other stuff. I don't enjoy it as I'm doing it, but when a video is compressed and it's done, or like everything comes together, it's great.
yeah, no,
But-
I just like fucking around, joking
Yeah,
about shit.
It's so much fun.
So it makes it a little bit easier when there's like constantly, especially because I do blind runs of all our games. So
Mhm.
it's easier for me to just be like, oh, what the fuck is that? And, oh
Which-
shit.
I'm actually enjoying that formula. Just Steve plays on the Fire and Ice channel.
Yeah.
You know, especially games that I've already played, because I could either, like with Long Live the Queen, I could fuck with you or I can't.
Yeah, and you
You
did
don't know.
a lot.
You don't know which one I'm doing.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's great.
But at any rate, now that we've kind of caught up, I don't know if you've got any recent developments you want to share before we kind of get into...
Dating with Nick segments are going to be few and far between now.
Yeah, unless something like, I don't know. You've got a new squeeze.
Yes, it happened. If you guys felt the earth ground get colder a couple weeks ago, I've found myself a lady friend.
Lady friend.
Lady friend.
Hey, you could even call her your JD friend.
Oh man, and she actually listens to these, so. Yeah.
Hey, Jade.
There was one episode. Oh man, it's. Have you gone back and like listened to these in sequence?
No.
There was one where I had a Tinder date, and it was like episode 3 or 4. I don't remember. But there was one episode where I have a Tinder date, and I'm super excited for it. We have a Dating with Nick segment, and I talk about it, and I'm super excited. And then the following week, I had been stood up in between episodes.
Yeah.
So if you're just watching it in sequence, it's like, yeah, I have a date on Monday. I'm super excited. Next episode, fuck women. I'm fucking tired of dating. Single life for life. Rah! And
MGTOW, baby. Going my own way.
And it was like, I'm like, man, I'm bipolar if you just watch these episodes in sequence, and I'm okay with this. But no, other than that, I don't have anything.
Well, only on YouTube because it's like all of them were uploaded at the exact same time.
Even on SoundCloud, if you just watch them back to back.
There's still a time difference.
That's true.
Like, there's a time difference on SoundCloud, but on YouTube, like, most of them were uploaded on the same fucking day.
About. They look at the date, they'll see.
Yeah.
These were all uploaded at once.
Yeah, these guys just, like, are
hammer it
insane.
out.
They time travel or something. I don't get it.
We're wizards.
I don't really get it. So, oh wait, are you good?
I think
good?
so. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I got nothing other than. I mean, I guess we can announce that we'll be at AkiCon in October.
Yeah, we'll be at
that's it.
AkiCon in October, being exactly what we are, which is just fucking nerds.
Yeah, I think my tag will actually say Axel 480, but if you walk around reading people's name tags, I just realized that makes you a creeper.
Oh, you know what? We should fucking walk around giving people cards or something.
Ooh.
Be like, hey, we're not weird at all. You wanna check out? We're trying to do this. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, you know, we are working on that logo.
Yeah.
I could make
I
legit
mean,
cars.
You just get them printed. I mean, they're like probably like fucking $10 for 500 of them. But
If that.
at any rate, let's kind of bust into some shit here outside of
Bust away.
yeah. So I have been getting continuously tired of far be it from me to say I know everything, because I definitely don't. But I am. There's one part of society that I'm just getting absolutely sick of, and it's just like where I am apparently made to feel ashamed for absolutely everything that's going on, and I don't understand that, because if you want inclusivity, then you're kind of obligated not to treat everybody like that guy you really hate at the office.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you bring a friend along to your Christmas party or whatever, and it's like, oh, this guy's a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fucking
talk
hang
to
out
him.
with this guy.
Don't even make
And
eye
then-
contact.
Like, you may have had arguably some pretty terrible experiences with this person, and that's
Mhm.
perfectly justifiable. Nobody's trying to take that away from you. But what you do in turn is turn that person against another possibly reasonable human being
Mm-hmm.
for no reason.
Just because of your previous
yeah,
interactions.
with your preconceived notion based on your interactions with this one person, and you have no idea how that person's going to interact with this guy. I'm not talking about anything specific here. I'm talking solely on like society as a whole.
Right. No, I get it. It's like those Mean Girl cliques that, oh, she's wearing. I mean, I might be doing.
It's perpetuating in-group, out-group.
Yes.
And
including people based on certain factors and discluding them off other ones without letting people make their own opinions for themselves.
Yeah, right. And like basically assuming that those people share the exact same viewpoints and beliefs that you do, and anytime one or two contradict each other, all of a sudden there's a shitstorm, and the people that staunchly stand for the ideals of that in-group are now cast out. They're scrutinized. They're absolutely vilified for whatever stance that they should take, and I'm getting pretty fucking sick of that. Like I know this is a really heavy topic, but like people don't think for themselves at all. And
there's just so much negativity out there like right now
Okay, so let me put it to you this way, just in the scheme of like, okay, football, right? And you're not a huge football fan, but you will watch it when it's on, right? And you understand that a few years ago, when Pete Carroll came over here, there was a huge rivalry between him and Jim Harbaugh. Right? Old college coaches, old everything. Nobody got into the Seahawks more than at that time. And nobody started hating the 49ers more than that time when they started liking the Seahawks. You know why? Because there was an in-group, out-group there. Nobody really gave a fuck about football. They just wanted to tell some poor fucking San Francisco fan that they're a piece of shit for liking whatever.
Drama and superiority. Those
exactly.
seem to be the two driving forces nowadays. And drama sells, unfortunately.
Yeah.
People want to feel better than the person next to them.
Well, I mean, that's how I've always kind of, like, that was a pretty big eye-opener because there's not really, I don't know. I'd have to assume that seasons past for the Seahawks fans have been like a new rebooted movie. It's just like that wasn't done that well. It's easily forgettable because there was nothing but tension the entire 16 weeks of the season. It was just, even if you won, you felt like shit afterwards because it was like, Jesus, we made an easy win look really fucking hard. And that's
those last
quarter. But that, I mean, that's for another time, is to talk about football. But that's all I'm getting at, is like, I've never seen so many people flock to something than when they can all hate something collectively. When there's something that separates you from an other group, especially if that group's not that prominent in that area, you think I definitely think that San Francisco fans in the Bay Area, like, definitely kind of a new age fan base came in at that point, and all they could ever talk about was a ring that they won 20 years ago. Grow the fuck up, people. But their mindset was the same thing as this one over here, where it's like, oh, fucking Seahawks fans, fucking sea chickens, like, oh, the 40 whiners, you know?
Well,
and it's just like, no two fan bases, like, outside of, like, well-established fan bases where there's a real rivalry there. Like, the only rivalry was because of Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh. There was nothing really else there. It was just the idea that you can hate an entire fan base and a team on something that doesn't even belong to you.
And on that,
like, in
that
all
reminds
reality,
me of another. I'm opening up a can of worms here.
Okay.
The Pokemon Go teams.
Yeah.
Valor, Mystic, Instinct.
And I haven't seen, luckily, too many people making, like, serious accusations, but it seems like it could turn that way. Well, and I don't know what you've read.
It was getting pretty nasty, at least between Valor and Mystic. But then, Niantic. Here, before I start getting into this can of worms, I like the game. It has great potential. I understand Niantic bit off more than they can chew, so they're backpedaling. And they are now talking to the fans. They may not be addressing every issue that we have, but they are talking to the fans, and I think that's big. So I like it. I'm going to keep playing it. End result is I like the game. I'm Team Valor.
I'm Team Valor too.
We just lost half of our fan base, but
or maybe like 2/3.
My girlfriend's Mystic, so maybe that'll save it. But
Shelby's Valor.
Yeah, well,
shows her devotion.
I've been walking around downtown, and I told you this story. I was walking down. This is maybe the second week of the game, And I'm happy that I'm actually getting out and about, and I run into this guy, and it's pretty obvious to tell who's playing and who's not. So I said, "Hey man, what team are you?" And he goes, "Instinct," and he was all excited. I'm like, "Awesome, I'm Valor," and he got scared.
What?
And
What a pussy.
You guys have seen pictures of me. If you haven't, you need to pay attention to our, pictures up there. The episode 7 with the Snapchat filter of me looking all pretty. That's me. So I'm not an intimidating guy, is what I'm getting at. So I throw out that I'm a Valor, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, I gotta go, and just like head
What a
down,
fucking weirdo.
storms off, and I'm like, okay. And then that was, I think, right around the same time you and I were questioning, why is Valor getting a bad rap?
Yeah.
And then this douchebag comes up, goes, "Yo, what team you all on?"
Oh, yeah. Was that the time we were at the library there and
Red sleeveless shirt.
yeah, bunch of gym bros come
Bunch
out
of gym
and
bros.
like just totally jacked
Yo,
type
what
of
team are you on?
individuals.
And I think we were with Shelby at the time too
Right.
for that one, and we're like, well, we're Valor. That's right. Woo.
Yeah. They're walking around like a bunch of fucking apes,
And
like
we
dragging their knuckles on the ground and like just
Steve,
Team Valor.
Steve and I go, "Oh, I get it now."
Yeah, just the amount. Like, I can't. How does anybody like? I don't know.
Did you see the article with a Blood and a Crip that were like, "I don't get it"? In response to the Mystic versus Valor, they're both there. They had their bandanas over their faces, and they're like, "We don't get it.
That's stupid.
Like, we don't get
It really
why
is
it's important."
It's not. It's not important. It's a fucking
not.
game.
It's
Just like all the people that we've come into contact with. Who fucking Pokemon? Fucking we grown man playing a fucking video game. And it's like
Especially
you're
with how
goddamn right.
broken the gym system is right now.
Well, no, I'm talking about people talking shit to people on the street. Like large collected groups of people are being like blasted by these retards walking around because they're 20 years old and think they have like a valuable opinion of the world.
And then like to circle
And they're
back,
just talking shit about people. It's like,
and to circle back to what you were talking about before, it's just like this hate thing. For some reason, everyone has to be mad.
yeah, why? Who's trying to prove what to somebody?
I don't know.
Like,
It was like, oh,
I want to know because I'm generally just intrigued.
I think at some point, like at the beginning of this movement, like years and years and years ago, there was like a reason for this superiority complex. And now with the internet, it's gotten so convoluted that nobody remembers why they were upset to begin with.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Fill the comment section with why you're upset. I'm sure it'll be a hoot, but
I'm not upset about anything. I just get annoyed by these fucking dorks that they... Oh, guess we better stop playing now. That guy doesn't like it. And go fuck yourself.
well,
Like,
there's
just
a
find a
bullying that
hobby.
happens for it too. It's like, why are you bullying people over a game choice?
Yeah, it's like oh, fucking PlayStation. Good.
Oh yeah, the
Xbox.
console boys.
Bleh. Like, why do people even fight over this shit? Like, especially now because games. Like, I know we're kind of like we're splitting hairs at this point, kind of getting away from the main topic. But, I mean,
I have some Head and
what's
Shoulders
the
in my
point?
bathroom.
What's the point of talking about any kind of game system? Now it's just pretty much console or PC.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much it. And
It's
most of those games are cross-platform.
Yeah.
So there's no point in even arguing. Like, most of them can do the same. Xbox One, they're all computers.
Yes.
Like,
only
essentially,
benefits
they're
of
just
having a PC
computers.
is you can upgrade it.
Yeah.
As far as a gaming machine goes, which one is actually better is a PC because you can upgrade it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why it's better. If you
Yeah.
just buy the bare minimum stuff,
And
the
you can
consoles are going to be better.
You can argue that too because the consoles have been growingly trying to be more like computers.
And eventually they
Like
will.
that's what I'm saying is like
once you get the
Xbox
capability to upgrade,
One is just like it's a mirror image of a computer with what Windows loaded
well,
onto
can
it.
you
It's the same
imagine-
concept.
I'm surprised with how technology is nowadays, and people are constantly upgrading. And like I said, that's the difference between PC versus console. You
Yeah.
can upgrade PCs, you can't upgrade a console.
Yeah.
Why don't they just for PS4 or Xbox make upgradable cards.
It's
and
a
shit.
cash cow.
Well, that's exactly what people would buy it. If you made upgradable video cards for Xbox, that would debunk one of the biggest arguments between PS4 versus Xbox One.
Yeah, because
PS4
essentially the Xbox One would become just as good as a PC.
Yes, but they won't. And how they can make that, so, I mean, there's ports and stuff that have all these pins and whatnot. The Xbox has a specific pin, so you couldn't take your PC or PS4. You'd have to buy an Xbox-specific one. And yes, you're right. It's a cash cow or cash grab. I mean, I'd upgrade my PS4.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with doing that, though, they couldn't release newer versions of consoles, and they couldn't release newer consoles because then you'd have these super-powered.
Yeah, but you're also going to have new forms of government coming in soon that's going to be like, look, the environment's getting trashed. You have to find a way to limit your manufacturing process.
That's true.
Because you're
I'm
running
sitting-
through a lot of plastic, a lot of fucking hazardous materials, because
I'm
a lot of
sitting
these
on
are
a
ended up in a
PS3
fucking
and
landfill.
A PS4 and a PS2 right now, none of which can work with each other.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I wish they'd bring back backwards compatibility and let us upgrade our stuff, because if the PS5, I'm PlayStation, I'm going to get the next PlayStation.
Yeah.
The PS5 or whatever they're going to call it would be able to be backwards compatible all the way to the PS1.
Yeah.
I'd be so happy, and if they let us have, expansion ports or whatever to expand it, it can make the console a little bit bigger. I don't care. I would end up
and
over time.
you could arguably sell it for more.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the last console that you'll ever have to buy.
Think of all the different flavors they could have with that. Here's the bare minimum specs where you can still play the games, but you're not going to be getting like as good a quality, like the basic boom, $300. Here's your console. You can do everything. You don't have good memory, and everything's basic. Then you just like every 50
and just
or 100
make
bucks,
it simple plug-in port type of shit.
That's
too.
what I'm talking about. Just
That's
like
just
boom,
like
boom, boom.
they were talking about that snap together phone a few years ago that I don't even know if it's coming to market yet, but it's a good fucking idea. Like, all you have to do is plug this shit in, and then you can like fucking sell this thing, and somebody else can use it, and then that way you get every single thing that you want out of the phone in the phone. And it's like, why don't you just fucking do that with consoles?
Hopefully they figure something out, because when the next PS console comes out, I don't know where I'm gonna fucking stick it.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen is my PS3 is collecting dust right now.
Yeah.
The PS4 is gonna move down. I'll have to get a bigger entertainment center.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, no, I kind of want to get back on track a little bit with that point, because
it's back to the hating.
I mean, we just covered a whole lot of reasons why that in-group, out-group exists.
Right.
Like, it's not probable, like, evidence for it existing, but it is evidence of, like, in-groups and out-groups.
Right.
Like, why people fight over dumb shit. And I think it is because it's solely just so people can be a part of a group that hates another group.
Right. And I'm not, like, super hippie, but honestly, can we just bring some happy back?
Yeah.
It's really to the point where everything's depressing. Everything's, I can't look at Facebook without having some kind of depressing post. And I'm not talking about the people having a bad day and are trying to get pity party. I mean, that's what it is, but there's always
a bad one. Ooh,
thank God you burped towards the fan. That's another shirt we're gonna make is Steve burps.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a cartoon version of me and just brah. You
But
can put a fart cloud on me too.
that'll be another shirt.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a both of us from. Oh, did we ever tell that Taco Bell story?
The
fire sauce one.
yes,
Oh,
we have told that one.
God, it was such a great story.
Yep.
But anyways, my point. Let's just be happier.
Yeah.
Really, I'm hoping that our stuff lightens up some people's days. I know the people that I've talked to have been like, it was nice. It took my mind off things for like an hour or so, and that's ultimately my goal for it. Bring a little bit of happy back every single day.
Yeah. And I really try to determine whether it's worth it or not to get political on stuff like this, because it's not our platform, really. I'm not trying to turn this into a politics page, but we are on a podcast, and I just want to speak openly about
Right.
like certain things. And the one thing that fucking pissed me off was when Disney
Disney movie.
Disney movies come out with a trailer, and people are being fucking idiots over it.
Talking about Mona?
I'm talking about Moana.
Moana, thank you. Sorry.
I'd be hard pressed to believe that Disney would release a movie that was knowingly called Mona,
Well, it
spelt Moana.
threw me off. I have a great aunt named Mona, and we're Hawaiian, so.
Oh yeah, that's
And you
right.
know what? Didn't find that offensive at all. Did not find the trailer offensive at all.
So yeah, basically Moana is like, it's got The Rock in it, and it's basically, he's the god Maui, if I'm not.
I don't know
Mistaken.
the legend behind this movie at all.
But basically, I believe he's just the god Maui. So
Okay.
basically, one
You
of
said
the
that was the
islands
guy-
that are named after. But the god Maui pulled the islands of Hawaii out of the ocean, and that's like the folklore behind it. But people are pissed off that this movie is portraying Maui in a stereotypical fat-shaming way of Pacific Islander people. So, what I would say is that it actually paints them in a pretty positive light, because something that I learned from an article in The Guardian is that 9 out of the 10 most obese countries are actually Pacific Islanders. And
even with that, though, he didn't look.
he doesn't look fat, you guys. You need to
No.
fucking chill the fuck out. He looks
Look at
like
his arms.
he pulled islands out of a fucking water. It's not even real anyway. So whether or not you think it's like
He's
you
not
know
fat.
he looks like a brick shit house. He
Yeah.
looks like he's built like a brick shit house.
Because you told
And
me
I
that
will-
today, and I remember my first reaction was, "Wait, the stocky buff dude was fat?"
Yeah. No, exactly.
And it's, you know,
Wait,
what? If they had thrown, like, if they had still used that same body frame,
yeah.
and if they had just thrown the freaking, I'm talking 90s superhero abs,
Yeah.
because that's what the 90 heroes were about, that stocky. Those abs, nobody
No.
they'd be complaining he was too ripped.
He looks like, you've seen the Highland games with
Yeah.
those, like, the strongest men in the world games. They look like that.
He looks realistic.
They have a really strong core. They're not like super slender. They're
Yeah.
powerful fucking people
Dude looks
that
like what
pull
you would
semi
look.
trucks, and that's the exact type of frame that he fucking had. I don't understand how being culturally inclusive and at least somewhat body positive, because they weren't exactly afraid to put this image out there, like a big stocky guy. So it's not like they're turning him into, you know, like that David guy in Lilo and Stitch, you know, really slender, kind of lean,
surfer
lean,
dude type
muscular type of dude.
No,
They didn't
he's
turn
a
him
dude
into
who
that.
could legitimately pull islands from the ocean.
Yeah. No, they were very, I hate to use the word body positive, but they weren't like adhering to an unrealistic standard of like physique, I guess.
No, I mean,
Like
he
there
looks
there are
legit.
people that look like that and
Yeah.
can fucking pull a semi truck. I've seen it happen. And
We've actually watched that at the bar together.
yes,
Yeah,
world's strongest man.
it was beautiful.
And you know what? I don't have a fucking problem with the way that character is portrayed. And I think people need to fucking lighten up, because you have a movie company that's trying to be as inclusive and like listen to people as much as possible, to the point where the character designer has to release his notes on why the characters are they look the way that they look, to justify to other people why they look the way that they look.
And this is Disney. They don't have to care.
Yeah, they definitely
they
don't.
have to care.
They-
People will buy
they-
their crap no matter what. It could be literal crap with Princess Pixie dust sprinkled on it,
Exactly.
and people would still buy it.
But here's the thing. I just want to see a fucking movie.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're brown, if they're black, if they're fucking white. I do not care what race they are, or like, I just don't know why it has to turn into like this. It's always a political flagship for some fucking disenfranchised group that
Yes.
feels underrepresented. And it's like, I understand that like not every movie can come out at the same time. You have to fucking wait for, you know, a Hispanic princess or whatever. What do I
Right.
fucking care?
Well, how long did it take for The Princess and the Frog? It took a long time, and
Yeah.
that movie was well received.
Yeah, and I could give a fuck less if
Yeah.
it's got a
It was a
if
good
it's got black
movie,
people in
and
it.
it
I
didn't
don't
matter
care.
if it was white or black. They were great. It was a good movie.
Yeah,
But
it's I
it's
mean,
back to that hate thing. Everyone has to be mad for something, and it's like
well,
it almost seems like there's a line of these different cliques that are like, when's it my turn to complain?
well, and there's a saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And these
Yeah.
people might be well-meaning, but you're being a little fucking sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
You're being a little hypersensitive. You're actually just projecting what you think somebody else is going to say about that character, and you're projecting it on your own. Like the way you see your own self-worth
Mm-hmm.
is how I think. I think some of these come out, and sure, maybe some things come out and they might be racially stereotypical. I know a lot of comedy can stem from that,
Right.
but if we're talking about Disney here, it's not like it's an episode of the Chappelle Show.
The most
or
PC. Well, since
Yeah.
Walt passed, most PC.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're just talking about a piece of work that it looked like it was kind of trying to be a little bit more brave in its character designs, not, you know, limiting to just, you know, princes in nice outfits and shit like that. Like they're going for you know, something that's kind of turned on its head,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, like, people still aren't happy with it. They
No.
they'll never be happy.
And that's unfortunately the way things are now. And it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm also overly optimistic, so I don't know.
I
Too
mean,
much happy.
it's like I think we covered this in one of our episodes to come, but I kind of went off talking about yaoi and stuff and how I kind of don't get how people kind of romanticize relationships that aren't really there.
Oh, we did.
Far
We
be it
talked
from
about
me
shipping.
yeah, far be it from me to determine what people want to do. I just don't get it.
Right. and
But
that's-
this is like people forcing a multi-billion-dollar company to like listen to them because they matter, and it's like
there was a webcomic I read years ago, and it was like I think it was like a 4-panel strip where it was one of those generic ones where instead of like the face, it just said like big company, and
yeah,
it had like fan base, and then it was just them like stampeding them or pushing them in the face, but like instead of the blocks of my opinions,
Mhm.
they're like slamming it into the big company's face.
yeah. And here's the reason. Here's the reason why they shouldn't care. Because not all your ideas are good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Like, there's a reason why some people work at Disney and some people work at fucking Pixar. And then there's those DreamWorks motherfuckers
Mm-hmm.
who it's like they're the corner store down the road with the dude that looks like he stays up a little bit too late and can't stop fidgeting. Like, that's the comparison there.
That's what happens after a night with Shrek. The pungent
Jesus.
smell of onions in the air. This isn't the first time I've referenced Shrek is love, Shrek is life.
But I mean, that's why there are writers that go to school to be writers, and the reason that they get pushed through the plethora of writers that are out on their own individual blog sites and whatever and pandering to their own audiences, there's a reason why you have your audience and you hate on the people who have the entire audience. It's
that's-
because your ideas aren't good enough
well-
to cater to the entire crowd. Sure, they might be good for one group of people, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with writing to cater to a certain crowd. I don't have a problem with that. But you have an entire fucking world that's going to be watching these movies, and they can't all just be like sitting through 90 minutes of drivel about, you know, oh, this should be a thing because I think it should. No, it's because you think it should, not because everybody else thinks it's a good idea.
Well, you brought up, you showed me that thread earlier on Facebook where if you don't like a movie or you want to be represented, make your own.
Yeah,
And yeah, we understand that it's expensive. Movies aren't cheap.
it's time consuming.
It's very time consuming, but that's You know, that's one of the reasons why we started doing this stuff was because, yeah, it's one thing to complain about it, but then it's another thing to do it.
Yeah,
This
and
stuff isn't easy.
It is time consuming.
Yeah, and it's...
I mean, I remember texting you on multiple occasions, like, yeah, just processing all these episodes, and
Yeah.
it doesn't sound fun. And
do you know how much
I know
solitaire
somebody
that I play?
Yeah,
Wow, videos. There's nothing else to do because if I do too much on the computer, it could crash. I mean, that's not the glamorous stuff, but it's fine.
but people don't want to put in that effort. They would just rather
be
chastise
done for
somebody. They'd rather chastise somebody for not taking their ideas seriously when, you know, maybe it is a good idea and they just don't have, you know, maybe they don't have the audience for it.
Maybe,
Go
you know
build
what?
an audience.
Yeah, and I challenge
Go
that.
build an audience. Go network yourself. Go network your idea. Go out there and meet people.
Yeah.
And you will meet people eventually with the same ideas as you. And then,
And then
like,
you'll build a
you
following.
can...
That's the fun part. Besides the recording and the putting up the finalized product, meeting people, building your network is a lot of fun. Because then you start to find that you might have gone in with some angry intentions. If you know you want to do angry casts, people do that and they're a hit. But then you'll find, oh, hey, you know what? There's enough like-minded individuals. Maybe I don't have to be angry all the time, except for when I'm recording.
Yeah. And not only that, but I mean, if you want to go way back, let's look at something like Tom Green. Tom Green was essentially just a jokester that went around his hometown and pulled pranks on people and then filmed it and sent it to public access television and eventually got his own show on MTV.
Yeah.
Did he write some fucking company saying, like, you should have a show that's exactly like what I think would be really funny? Or did he just go out and fucking do it on his own? And that was without the availability of the internet.
Yes.
That was in the 90s. Like, sure, the internet was around, but you couldn't, like, download videos.
Like
yeah.
AOL dial-up.
Like, you're talking about a
15
guy
minutes to
that
load a
with,
picture.
like, a camera guy who I'm assuming was just his buddy and, like, a town full of possibilities just turned it all upside down and just made his own thing. He decided to take the brand of humor that he thought was great and turn it into something. And he's still doing stand-up. I don't really think it's, like, groundbreaking, but, like, his humor still gets to me, so I still think he's funny.
And, you know,
but,
I challenge people, if they're going to criticize, criticize if you have to, but then do something on your own.
Yeah,
like if
just
you're gonna
just
criticize
go out and
somebody
do
for
it.
this-
Like,
yeah.
quit expecting other people to fucking, like, you're talking about Disney, dude. You're talking about the one company that every, like, continent outside of Antarctica has, like, a pretty large amount of respect for.
Dude, they probably
as
got
far
Walt
as,
Disney
like,
buried
what
in
they've
Antarctica.
accomplished and the movies that they've made. Like, I don't know. Like, just fucking go out and make it. Like, you have YouTube. You have pretty much an endless supply of opportunities and ideas
And like you said with
available
that
to
internet
you.
thing. Like,
Like-
people don't need degrees because they can Google everything.
Like, what's a decent camera where you can get, like, kind of semi-theatrical quality out of?
Well, shoot,
Well-
that one that I bought cost me maybe $200.
Yeah,
And that
that
can do
one's not
HD.
that. Yeah, but that's not going to give you the same frame rate as, like, a theatrical camera. You're going to have to spend, like, maybe $8 to $1,000.
Still, I mean,
But,
it's just for
I mean-
starting out making home movies. I mean, even we aren't using
I
super
mean,
great equipment.
That's what I mean, though. Like, if you're gonna do something, at least that's a start. Like, you can work your way to get that money, and it's not always easily available, but, like, nothing that comes easy is really worth having. So
If this was easy, I mean, everybody would do it, and there'd be no gain from it, and then it wouldn't be rewarding.
yeah, it's something that I have a huge problem with is, like, people constantly expecting to be accommodated for. And I'm not just talking about the people that were scrutinizing Moana for its choice of character design. I'm, like, talking about the people on the other side that are taking the extreme opposite stance, but the playfully racist kind of stance where they are actually stereotyping people.
Gotcha.
Those people are just the same. Like, they just expect everything to be accommodated to their worldview. And you guys need to shut the fuck up and just know that there are things outside of our control. There are things that are their own entity, and they make their own decisions.
And it's okay to have different opinions. We don't always have to agree on everything.
I mean, I remember thinking it was ridiculous, like, oh, Harry Potter, it's magic and witchcraft, so Christian children shouldn't read it. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's a book.
It's just a book.
It's a book, and magic doesn't exist.
It's not saying do all this stuff. It's just for entertainment.
Yeah.
And I think people have lost sight of that. Entertainment is just that.
And
Entertainment.
what about, what was it? The Golden Compass. I
yeah.
read that book right before I went to see the movie, and I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty good story.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, you have the idea that in this fictional world, the whole point is to, essentially kill God.
Yeah.
And people were boycotting that movie because they can't handle dissenting opinions. They can't handle the idea that something is ever going to cross their plate
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be different than what they expect the world to be around them.
Right.
And you've got some pretty harsh truths coming to you, because that's not how it works. Just because it's popular to you doesn't mean it's popular to everybody else.
Right.
And you need to be able to respect when it's a piece of work that has nothing to do with you. Like, you need to be able to just be like, you know what? It's not my thing. It's not really your. Why are you protesting anything?
Yeah,
like,
you do you. I'm gonna go do something more productive with my time.
yeah,
That's really all it needs to be. But people, could you imagine all that negative energy, like all those protests, everything? And no, not every protest. There are some protests that I agree should have happened, but like the ones you're talking about with the movies and stuff,
yeah.
if they had focused that energy on something else.
Well, and it's like,
Disney doesn't represent Polynesian people fairly.
and it's like, okay, so what if they change it, and all your dissenting opinions about Disney, like, what happens then? If you're like so staunchly opposed to this, like, great new development of being culturally included in the Disney princess realm, like, what do you do after that? Do you all of a sudden go pay to see their movie?
I don't know.
Like, can you think of any more of a turncoat kind of like standpoint where you're just so easily pleased?
No, I mean, if every big company like Disney catered to the whims of everybody, there'd be no movies made.
Yeah, because
just-
nobody would ever be able to decide on one thing that encompasses all.
Yeah, we would get that opening thing with the Disney castle in the background, and then it would cut straight to the credits of the guy who made that logo.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. Because
3-second movie.
thought policing doesn't get anybody anywhere.
No.
And neither I don't believe in censorship. I think if you're gonna the open marketplace of ideas, everybody deserves to have their idea heard, even if it's a bad one. But that's why that should be available, so people can kind of challenge their own beliefs and collectively determine what is and what isn't a bad idea.
Right.
And that's, like, I don't know. I don't believe in objective morals. I think it's subject to every individual society. But, I mean, at least that open marketplace will kind of give you an idea for what is deemed as a bad idea. And if most people don't have a problem with it, like, maybe that should cause you to kind of reevaluate how you're looking at things, because I think it might give you a clue as to whether you're being too sensitive or not.
This is why we need a real life Batman. Just to go around and just pimp slap people.
Well, we don't really have a need for a real life Batman.
I just want a real life Batman.
I know you
I'll
do.
be honest.
You can be the real life Batman if you
No,
want.
I am Scarlet Man. That's a story for another day.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah, I made up my own superheroes.
God damn it. Fan fiction writing piece of
Hey,
shit.
it's not fan fiction if it's my own stuff.
It's original fiction.
It's original. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we got
I don't
anything
know.
more positive to talk about?
I don't know. I just had to get that out there because I feel like it's an important thing to talk about. Is
No,
like,
it is. I mean,
you should really be avoiding a collectivist mentality and kind of thinking for yourself and not allowing other people to tell you that you need to be part of X, Y, or Z group or to oppose A, B, or C group because reasons and because you don't know how to think for yourself.
Oh, and that drives me nuts. One of the things I tell a lot of people at work and out and about is I do what I want.
Yeah.
And it's mostly a joke, but part of that's I don't know. I mean, I usually just do what I want, but it's still
Yeah.
I don't get the whole brainwashing thing. I've seen it done to people like when growing up. I had friends that their parents ruled their lives. We have friends who parents have ruled their lives, and it's
and I mean, recently I lost a pretty okay friend, and I'm not going to get real too deep into it, but because of something like that, because she involved herself into a relationship that was sincerely brainwashing, who would project, like her partner would just project this idea of who all of her friends back here were, and that ended up turning into like the termination of that relationship.
Yeah.
And I believe it was completely necessary, but
unfortunately,
I mean,
but yeah,
I'm not gonna act different just because you're in a new relationship now. Like, I'm just gonna be the same person that I am.
Yeah.
But I don't. What are you doing? Like, this is a complete opposite version of you than what was a year ago.
It was a complete almost 180.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, point is, have your own identity and be okay with it.
Yeah, don't just adhere yourself to other people's beliefs because it's the most common route.
But keep following the laws.
Yeah.
Don't take the van jokes seriously.
Yeah. Don't break the law.
We aren't
Nick.
condoning law breaking or anything like that. You know, be a good person. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Treat others fairly. You know, don't expect everyone to believe what you believe, and don't force your opinion down people's throats.
Exactly.
Don't wag your dick in front of someone's face and then go use their Lubriderm.
Unless his name is Nick.
Joke's on you. I don't go by that here.
That just means you have a 40% gay alternate identity, secret identity, alternate ego.
Not so much a secret.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. But
what else? What else we gotta?
Well, the Let's Watches aren't coming out. We keep getting flagged for copyright, even though technically it would be fair use with our track overlaid over the top of it.
Yeah.
Having no luck with YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for looking into it, because you didn't. You just sent me some blanket statement email.
Yeah, and that's something we can. They will go up eventually. For the Cardcaptor Sakura ones, we have to take out the theme song, which will lose like a good chunk of our audio, which we can work with initially up until like episode 8.
We just need to work on changing the imagery and the audio just enough to avoid getting flagged by Victor Entertainment.
Yeah, so right now I'm working on a kind of like a Game Grub style thing where they have the background and like the picture is in the middle.
Yeah.
And then I'll work on that. It'll be like, I'm working on a lot of things behind the scene to kind of spruce things up. Some logos, some banners, and the backgrounds for the different Let's Watches. And once those get up, we can start doing airing those things for you guys. But
yeah, once we kind of figure out what our defense will be as far as like whether or not, because we might just have to, figure out whether or not it's going to be something that we can do as a Mystery Science Theater 3000 style anime viewing club type of thing.
Right.
But I would really like to pursue that because it got a lot of attention.
I might have to reach out to some abridgers to see how they get past that, because I know that they have to be getting flagged for the same thing. Our FLCL, it didn't get flagged for any audio tracks. It got flagged because the clips matched the episodes, which is true. We are using the whole episode. So I wonder if they're able, if the abridgers,
and that was just like the ending theme song, wasn't it?
On FLCL?
Yeah.
No, that was the whole episode. It was like a 20-minute chunk of time that matched other copyrighted stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
and
I'm
then
wondering
Victor
if we-
flagged us for imagery.
Yeah, well, Victor flagged, that's Cardcaptor Sakura, right?
Yeah.
That flagged us for the theme song, the opening one, which worked out for
Okay,
you.
I've got it turned around.
Yeah, they get a flip. Which, initially Steve's idea was to not even have the theme songs anyway, but I was too busy singing along to it that we never cut it out, and we actually got some pretty good dialogue out of it.
Yeah.
So we kept it, and then it kind of gave us a chance to warm up as the episode started.
Yeah.
And now we're just going to have to, I think going forward, we won't be doing openings and endings.
Yeah. And I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But
and maybe do
what
more
I
of a
am
clip
kind
show.
of upset about is that they also bought up the rights to what anime? Can you guess?
No.
It's my favorite one.
No. Wolf's Rain?
Yeah.
No.
They took down all the music that's on YouTube.
No.
And then like all the songs that are that were on there were either like there was one that was like a piano cover, and then all the other ones are just in scene songs. So the ones that like they don't have rights to the visuals over, because that should be Bandai. But I mean, wasn't Bandai out of business?
I think Bandai's still around.
Who was it then?
I'm not sure. That makes
But
me...
either way, like basically they took down all the music to it, so that would be another one that we'd have to work around if we wanted to do that. But
and that's doable. I mean, we can do it in ways. The biggest thing is we're commenting. So if something happens in an episode, because now we're starting to. First we were filming,
and that's why they can't really.
It's still under fair use.
Yeah, it is fair use, but it's kind of like it's a pretty thin. That's why we're going to try and boost up at least the visual content to make it altered. You know,
with us
what's it got to be, like 10% altered?
Oh, something like that.
Like,
but with us recording, initially we were recording everything in Fraps, so I couldn't mess with the audio.
Yeah,
I mess with it,
and that's why it's so
everything.
loud too.
Yeah, that's why you can barely hear us in the Cardcaptor Sakura ones. We figured it out about episode 8 of Cardcaptor Sakura, and that might just be us. We might have to just go back and re-record.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but FLCL we have two different. We have an audio track of just us and FLCL.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, worst case, I could turn off the audio for certain chunks of the anime, and then just have us talking over it.
Yeah.
You know, if there's like music playing that we can't hear or anything, because we have subtitles on, so you can see what's being said.
Yeah.
So,
but
that's kind of in the pipeline right now, because as you mentioned earlier, we're both really busy. So right now I'm mostly focused on.
I mean, we pretty much got lucky with being able to even just record this today.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, I got some other stuff in the pipeline too. I'm working on sprucing up Fire and Rice's YouTube and Facebook channel. I'm also working on my own channel in the background. Steve and I are still brainstorming other stuff. We do like the podcast, so we're thinking about refocusing more on the podcast.
Yeah, especially because we've got so many episodes that we've recorded already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'd have to do a few more of that other one,
Fading Hearts.
But
even then, we have
catch
about
up,
33 episodes of Tokyo School Life, so we're good for a while.
Yeah. But at any rate, I don't know if you had anything more that you wanted to talk about. I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit longer, but
that's what she said. The new Godzilla movie came out in Japan. Godzilla Resurgence.
Oh shit, dude!
Yeah, and is
there a resurging of lizards?
So I found out that they're actually going to have an American release for it, and I'm not going to do any spoilers on this podcast, but I will say from the reviews I've been reading, it has been dividing fans left, right, and sideways.
Why?
One, it's not normally the formula for the Godzilla movies are they're sequels to the original only.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Heisei, Showa, and Millennium different series, which are all different incarnations of Godzilla. I think Heisei and Showa kind of followed like a linear thing, like recurring characters kind of showed up.
Right.
The Millennium series, which is kind of when I really started buying all the movies, most of those, they didn't follow in continuity with each other. They only, like, every movie was a direct sequel to the very, very first one. Right. With the exception of, there were two that featured Mechagodzilla that were direct sequels to each other. This very new one that came out, it's a complete reboot. It completely ignores Godzilla 1954 altogether, and in this new modern take on it, it is the first time Godzilla's ever showed up in Japan in this in this universe, and it was an
Oh, so it's just retcon.
well, it's a reboot. It's just a new reboot. Because as you're talking about reboots earlier,
Yeah.
in this one, it's the way they portrayed Godzilla is different. They've taken some liberties with the character, and you know what? For it being its own standalone movie, I'm okay with it because it's different. It adds to the Godzilla mythos.
Okay.
And if I had to see movies with this same Godzilla in it, like a bunch of them, I don't think it would last. But the visuals I've seen have been pretty cool. The CG, they're kind of a mixture of CGI and monster suit. The Godzilla itself looks terrifying. The design looks like he was struck by the nuclear bomb and had keloid scars,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't think he actually was. I think he evolved into that menacing-looking thing. But
I see.
and I guess it's really dialogue heavy, which is a book, like a page they took out of the American version. I don't know. I don't
Maybe.
care. I heard of the scenes.
You're just excited for another Godzilla movie.
I love Godzilla. I heard that the scenes where Big G's on screen are pretty good, and he has more screen time than the legendary version.
That's pretty cool.
And speaking of the legendary version, there will be a King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
man.
they're doing a King Kong. I believe it's a prequel.
I think they should redo it with claymation.
Like what was it? Like something in brass?
I don't
Oh
fucking
god, like
know.
the original.
I just think of like the
Godzilla
old
and-
'80s movies with all the big monsters, and it was all
Godzilla and King
claymation,
Kong
just
Save
scaled up.
Christmas. Rudolph's in the background and gets stomped on. That was Bambi that got stomped on by Godzilla. That's right. And Godzilla
I remember that.
1988 or something like that. But yeah, so they're doing Kong like Skull Island, which I want to say is a prequel to King Kong. Then I believe they're going to be doing Godzilla 2, which will feature more. It'll be the legendary Godzilla with Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah.
Is that the thing I keep seeing about Skull Island?
Yeah,
Is
Yeah, I
that a
think they've
Godzilla
actu-
thing or a King Kong
King
thing?
Kong.
Okay.
And they've released the trailer for that, I believe, haven't they? Or at least I know they were talking about it. So
I've been seeing it float around.
It's been in the works for a while. They pushed back all these dates for movies. Gareth Edwards, I think is his name. He was supposed to direct Godzilla 2, and then they pushed the date back,
Mhm.
and then he bailed. He jumped ship on it. So I don't know who's directing it now. And so at some point they're going to do King
so
Kong.
bad with names. I have no idea
So
who the
am
fuck
I.
that is.
I can't put the picture to his, the face to his name, but I know they're doing Kong on Skull Island, then Godzilla 2, which is going to be like a monster fest. I guess they understood there wasn't enough monster in the movie, so they're going to have 4 of the most iconic kaiju battle it out.
Oh jeez.
And then it's going to go, I think, Godzilla versus King Kong. So,
Sounds all right.
I'm stoked.
Did you see the new Ghostbusters yet?
I have not, but the feedback I've been hearing, it's not as bad as the internet made it sound to be.
I've been getting very mixed reviews.
Same
like,
here.
People who went in like expecting to hate it came out like, yeah, it was all right. And then the people who like go in, they're like, okay, I'm going to keep an open mind. And then like really trying to like it, end up absolutely fucking hating it. And it's got
heard-
like a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I
Or
heard.
no,
you
that
just
was
go-
Suicide
that was
Squad.
Suicide Squad.
What
Which, yeah, well,
did Ghostbusters get a terrible review?
I
I thought it
know.
was more like in the 60s and 70s.
I know Ghostbusters. From what I've heard, it was one of those movies where you just enjoy the ride. Don't think about it. Just kind of, it's entertainment to be entertained.
Yeah,
There
I
you
just
go.
don't like Paul Feig or
Yeah.
Fig, whatever his fucking name is,
Gotcha.
because he's such a condescending cunt. Like that whole, like you knew he was just rolling in it the entire time that the internet was freaking out.
Yeah.
Just a totally divisive advertising campaign, and I don't really give a fuck about Ghostbusters, so
It's just
I have no
another-
stake in the game.
I
But
heard the
watching these
cameos are
people
really bad,
argue,
though.
watching these people argue over this fucking movie, like, God, popcorn in my seat.
Did you do you watch the Nostalgia Critic at all?
I don't.
So shout out to him. He's awesome for one. But he did a review on Ghostbusters, the new one, and it was hilarious. He has like three or four different cliques represented by small groups that show up as he's trying to do this review,
Mhm.
and it's basically his review gets hijacked, and they're all trying to force him to swallow their opinion of the movie,
Yeah.
and he's like he's not even in his chair reviewing
Yeah.
it proper. He's like in front of the door blocking
That's
them in.
exactly how that's exactly how I would expect it to
Yeah,
be
and
represented.
Doug Walker, you're a genius. I want to shake your hand someday, sir. But
Yeah, no, I watched a couple reviews from like Armored Skeptic and
Mhm.
Mr. Repsion and shit like that.
maybe I'll check it out and do a review, but I'm not excited.
I
or
don't even want to
non-excited.
watch it. I don't want
I
to
do.
give Paul Fig money.
Well, I like Ghostbusters, but
So if anybody wants to take me to see Ghostbusters, fine, I'll go see it. But I don't want to give any of my
Deny.
money to somebody that created a falsehood,
what we're gonna
like
do?
a false advertising campaign, just basically calling, like, kind of isolating the sole fan base that actually liked and cared about the movie before, and then turning it into a political platform,
What we're
as
going
opposed to
to,
actually taking criticism like a human being and just recognizing that your movie could or could not suck. You could have advertised it a little bit better, because I don't want to see it just based on the trailers. It looks
Right.
dumb.
Yeah. Well, what
and-
we're gonna do is go get some General Tso's, get really nice and gassy, and then we're gonna go see it. And we're
Maybe
gonna
we
sit.
can, we can do that.
We're gonna sit in the front row, so it has to waft all the way back.
Oh my god.
It's a fire and rush viewing.
I've also heard that Suicide Squad sucked.
So, from what I've been reading, critics are like panning it, saying it's not as good as the hype, but the fans are saying it was actually pretty good.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard from, again, Mr. Repsion,
yeah,
is that if you're a comic book fan, you like it. Like, if you actually understand kind of where the characters come from
it seems
already, because, like, they had, what, like 6 characters they have to do all these
like
backstories on?
way too many, and apparently a lot of the Joker scenes are on the cutting floor. Jared Leto,
Yeah, no, I also heard he's only, like, in 3 or 4 minutes of it.
yeah,
And that was one of the things that I was looking forward to the most, because it's like, okay, we're going to get a new version of the Joker. Like, let's at least see it when it comes out. I didn't really care for, like, first screenshot of the Joker. And it's like, I almost
grew on
think
me.
that the blowback probably caused what scenes they must have had for him.
Well, they're hoping that it's gonna get the Batman vs Superman treatment when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, and it has like an Ultimate Edition
Where
with
it's like,
the Joker scenes re-added in.
yeah, that's one thing that I've heard about Batman versus Superman, is that, like, it's a lot more complex of a story, and basically it's all just fucking fudged together.
Yeah, and then the Ultimate Edition comes out, and it seemed a lot of the problems people had with the theatrical release were kind of resolved with the Ultimate Edition. They're like, oh, why didn't they keep this scene in and take out this scene?
Yeah, but it almost makes you think that they should have just rewritten it, so for like a theatrical version and an Ultimate Edition version,
Right.
so that at least it made sense to the people who were just going in to see it because they saw Christopher Nolan's Batman, or
Right.
you know,
And
what have you.
maybe that they'll do that eventually, because it seems like DC is trying to find their formula. Because what I've read is that all these movies are so close to hitting home, they're just not quite there. They're not
Yeah.
terrible movies, but they're hitting doubles when they could be hitting home runs. And I think that they'll figure it out eventually. There's enough resources for DC to figure it out. They do listen to the fans.
They just don't have the resources that Marvel has right now.
Marvel has Disney.
Yeah. Back
So-
to Disney.
Back to everything's Disney. We're gonna be bought out by Disney.
I'm
at
actually
some point.
I saw whatever the scene or trailer for the Wonder Woman movie, and I have to say it looks all right.
I haven't seen those trailers yet. I guess there's a Justice League one and a Wonder Woman one, and I haven't seen them yet.
The Wonder Woman one, the only the only problem I had was like the rope looked kind of weird, and I'll show it
Because
to
it
you.
was all glowy and stuff.
Yeah, but
That's
it
how
was
it's supposed-
like,
that's how it's supposed to look. I did see a picture of the rope,
but
and that's
it looks like bad to me. Like it looks like it came out in the early 90s,
Oh, I mean,
Like
I saw
something
a
that maybe
still of it.
would have been like a background effect in like Terminator 2.
I'll have to check it out, like when it's moving, because the still that I saw, like it was glowing, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it fits. I'm just curious to see what origin they're going to give Diana.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't really. I was kind of like a casual fan of all that stuff. So like I'd watch episodes of the Justice League and shit like that, but
Great series, by the way.
never really got into comics or anything like that. But it looked pretty cool. Her costume was cool. I like that.
Oh, I like all our costumes.
It just kind of seemed fucking warrior-ish.
It always threw me off.
It didn't
though.
look so campy, you know, like a fucking
It looked like it fit.
1960s piece of like swimwear.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it fit. Like she could still kick ass in that outfit.
Yeah.
But
And so, like, I don't know. There was, what was that? It didn't look like the action scenes were directed by the guy who made Salt, or whatever that fucking movie is, with that horrible jumping punch off the wall. Do you remember that?
No,
trailer?
I'm drawing a blank right now.
Oh my god. I'm trying to think of the I never saw it, but I always thought that the trailer looked shitty because there's this like part of it where she like jumps off the wall to like go and get somebody, but it was so like counterintuitive. Like the dude as a trained fighter probably could have seen it coming
Right.
because that's how out of place it looked.
Yeah,
but
jumping
she
on the
like
wall stuff never works.
well, she just jumped like a foot and a half off. Like that's where her foot placement looked. It was like a foot and a half off the wall. She didn't even get air. She just like was probably shorter than the dude and got high enough to hit him in the face. Like that's how it looked to me.
Weird.
And that's how the action scenes in the trailer did not look. So
No, I missed
I'm,
that one.
I'm all right with that. I would go see a Wonder Woman movie.
I mean, I plan on seeing all these, hopefully. I'm still bummed I didn't see Batman vs. Superman in theaters.
Yeah. Well,
But-
I didn't even really want to see that one. I'm still like hungover from the Christopher Nolan ones. As flawed as like real comic geeks would probably say that they are, because
They're still good
you
movies.
have like a top detective like slapping somebody in the face and screaming, "Where is he?" And that's like his deductive reasoning skills. I don't give a shit. Like I enjoy the movies.
They're good for what they are. Like, you gotta take them for what they are. And I enjoy them. I own them.
Yeah. But
Though somebody has my Batman Begins, and I'll never probably get that back, so whatever.
you can have the second copy of Dark Knight Rises that you gave me.
I don't want that. I already had it and gave it to you.
I know.
Yeah, I had bought the Dark Knight Rises DVD, and then the day later, I saw that they had the Blu-ray DVD combo for cheaper, so I bought the Blu-ray DVD combo, kept that one, and then gave Steve my sloppy seconds.
It was still in the plastic wrap.
Still in the plastic wrap. But yeah, no, I got nothing else for this one.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, that was episode 8.
That was episode 8.
I
Thanks
hope-
for continuing to hear us. We'll keep doing these a little bit more frequently than the Let's Plays, probably, because
Yeah, and feel free to like, comment, or subscribe,
or all three.
or all 3 of them. Tell me what a fat piece of shit I am.
You're a fat piece of shit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. We'll catch you in the next installment.
My nipples are hard.